Hi, I'm Ron Schuler, and welcome to another Small Business Spotlight. Today, I'm welcoming Sean Kenny, owner of Sean Kenny Design. Welcome, Sean.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you, Ron. Thank you
How
very
you doing?
much.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Now, before you tell us about Sean Kenny Design, can you share with us a little bit about how you started your journey, how you started your company?
Well, graphic design has been a big passion of mine. I've been in the industry for over 12 years now. Uh, Pretty much, I've always been wanting to help people. And I know that's a very vague, broad explanation. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor initially, and after going through some exploration myself in high school and in college, I realized after taking some graphic design classes that I was really interested in that. And at the end of it, I realized, well, this is a really interesting and unique and dynamic field that I can use my creativity, and I would still be helping people in that regard. So, uh, was definitely on board for that, and have been for a long time now. I started my business ventures really full on back in 2019. So I've been going for probably the past 6, 7 years for sure. Had a couple clients reach out to me, and ever since then, I've just been doing my best to grow the business and produce quality, stunning visuals for clients. So
Wonderful. So, what would you say makes Sean Kenny Design different from other graphic designers?
yes, this is something that is a question that definitely comes up. There are a lot of designers out there. It's a very big competitive field. I kind of say sometimes it can get a little saturated with a bunch of creatives that are out there. But I think what sets myself apart as a graphic designer is I always do my best to put the client's interest first. A lot of times there's this debate of, what the client wants versus what the client needs, right? And yes, of course, as a creative, I want to produce the best possible result that I think works for a client's vision. But I also want it to be something, if I do a project, whether it's a logo or a business card or a website, at the end of the day, not only do I want it to be something that I'm proud of, but I also want it to be something that the client is proud of to use to promote their business. I want it to be something that they can use, and that they're proud of. So that's really, I think, at the forefront what sets me apart. I'm always thinking about the client.
Wonderful. So, what are some of the industries that you've done work for?
Yeah, I've worked for a lot of different industries across real estate, higher education, life sciences. I've also done a little bit of work in the music industry as well. I worked with a singer songwriter for his EP cover and a few promotional materials for his shows. Yeah, just to name a few.
Okay, wonderful. So, tell everyone where you're located.
Well, I'm currently located in North Ridgeville, Ohio, which is about a half hour west of Cleveland. For those of you that familiar with the Cleveland area, that's kind of where I'm located. So
Okay, wonderful. So, if someone was wanting to use Sean Kenny Design for creative services, talk me through what an onboarding process would be and the steps you would take to really get to know a client.
yes, so pretty much what I would do is if a potential client came to me and had a specific project or was just interested in seeing what I have to offer, pretty much what I'd do is I would set up some kind of call or meeting to speak with the client and then to really get to know them, but also get to know their potential projects. So, for example, if it's something specific like, hey, I'm starting this new business, I need a logo, I need branding, you know, the one thing that I would really focus on is just ask him questions like, okay, like, what is your business? Right? I mean, the type of businesses really can dictate what the overall brand is going to be. So I would ask questions about like what kind of business is it? And then I would also, again, going back to my previous statement of putting the client first, I would ask them if any preferences they have as far as like, do you have a certain color palette in mind? Are there certain typefaces that you like? Are there certain designs that you're drawn to? if there's no real answer there, if it's a client, if they're a client that really isn't sure, and that's why they come to creatives like me, that's totally fine, right? But I still want to ask them, like, what are you interested in? Because again, back to my previous statement, it's always going to be their interest first, their, what they're interested in, and what they will be proud of displaying. And from there, I would ask those kind of questions and really understand the project. And then I would offer them any kind of my advice as far as consultation is concerned. Like, here's what I think you would need, or hey, you have this specific project. Let me give you an idea, and I would tell them, kind of like my rates and going forward, and then I would discuss a quote, which I would send back to them after the meeting, and if they are good with it, then I would proceed with the work.
So what would you say are some of your most fun and favorite projects?
Yeah, there's been a lot of projects that I've worked on, and the one that really still sticks out to me the most is a project I did back in 2021, I believe. I had a meeting and worked with a scientist in the life sciences, and he was working on an article to submit to the Journal of Medicinal Chemistry. And what happened was is that he needed a cover design for to be featured. He's writing an article that's going to be featured in the journal, and he wanted a cover design to go with his article. And basically, it was kind of like a contest to see, what cover would win. And he needed a really good, cool, interesting illustration. And I'll spare you all of the medical technical jargon and information, lingo, but pretty much what the end result was is that he was working on research to block pathways for cancer cells, to stop the progression of them. And he really wanted some kind of illustration. And when I was talking with him on the phone, I said, hey, so you said block pathways. So the first initial thought was a chess game. In chess, it's very strategic. You're blocking ways of stopping the other opponent from getting to your side. So I did this really interesting illustration where I had, different pieces representing the certain like cell makeups and just showing that blockage. And he really enjoyed it to the point where it actually did win that contest. So that cover was featured on the Journal of Medicinal Chemistry. So I'm still very proud of that project because
Wonderful.
not only because it was thank you, not only because it was featured on that cover, but just the conversation that we had and the result that I was able to achieve for him, and also that he was very pleased with the result. So,
well, great. So Sean, how can prospective clients reach out to you if they would like a consultation?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. You can, if you would like to see, first of all, if you'd like to see the kind of work I've done, you can reach out on my website, seanpjkenny.myportfolio.com. You can also email me, again, seanpjkenny@gmail.com. And then you can also, my phone number is 216-310-0772. A lot of different ways you could reach out. Email is probably the best way because that way I can, kind of really set up a meeting and, kind of go forward there. But those are the best ways to contact me.
Okay. I will be putting all your contact information in the description above. Well, thank you so much, Sean, for sharing that with us today. If you'd like to be featured on the Small Business Spotlight, just reach out to me with the information above. I'd love to hear from you. That's today's edition of Small Business Spotlight. I'm Ron Shuller. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.